Cool. So it's always good to volunteer because this is much harder when I have like full or part-time caregiver positions. Going back to people, and that's what social media is all about. Social media is giving your company the chance to keep that gatekeeper mentality, right? You don't want every candidate in the world to know who you are and what your direct information is. Some you want them to know and you want them to call you back immediately. But there are a lot of people out there, getting from the tens of thousands to hardly any who are going through that process who are even worth your time. Those are the people who you want to engage with because they're always going to fit. And so the easiest way to engage them is to give your company a voice. And by doing so, if you don't already have a corporate Twitter account, or even if you have a personal one, if you don't have a corporate Facebook page, I would actually recommend you all have corporate Facebook pages, and talk about why in a second. I would actually suggest going crazy. Facebook, if you don't have a huge advanced presence right now, make it your career site. Does anyone consider doing that? It's really, really effective, by the way, particularly if you're going after Gen Y talent. The other reason for that is why I do recommend a lot of this is something like 50% of Fortune 500 career sites right now run off of Flash. If you go there, you're going to see this cool movie, right? And it's like, why I work here? You know, everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. They're appearing on job descriptions now. That's great. It's great to have video content. YouTube is actually the second most searched engine. So as much as we talk about Google and Bing and optimizing our jobs and our search results around those, make some videos around them because you're missing the second largest search engine out there. But again, that's not going to be the be-all end-all. So taking those slick production values, well, that's something. But you really want to show the people who work there the diversity of your employee population, the thought leadership and expertise of your employee population. The fact that, and this is obviously quite pertinent for the Los Angeles Police Department, but just as much for your community, is going to be just that, is being a member of the community. Something that's going to be demonstrative on any of these sites. Because you're participating. You're engaging with them. And what's more important is they are putting a face to the company. And if you are getting into that place where they have to make the offer between you and your competitor, if they feel that they know somebody at that company, you've already been participating on Twitter, your friends on Facebook with these candidates, even if it's not for a job you're recruiting for right now. I've hired probably 500 Big 4 CPAs, top 25 MBAs with Fortune 500 experience, right? That's like a profile that a lot of businesses always need. I'm gonna keep talking to those people because I know I'm gonna need them. However, how many people here get into that, well, it's been 2 weeks, I better call this guy, I don't have any positions for him open, but we have to keep him warm. Well, warm for what? We never have a timeline on that, but we know that they're good candidates. So you pick up the phone and you have, this is Matt, I'm just calling to say hi, check in, see how things are going. Okay, that takes a lot of time. It's a good practice, I recommend it. Turning to social media, you can do that all and to scale. You only have to do it once. Let me give you a good example. So, recruiting, when I was recruiting, one of the most important things to do for candidates is to set that expectation up front, particularly if it's a competitive search and you're looking at a hard-to-fill talent profile. Here's what the process looks like. Here's when I'm going to get back to you. Now, even though a lot of times it's just checking a button to get back to them in an applicant tracking system, 96% of candidates who aren't selected in the process never hear back. And that is not a good thing. However, social media, be that Twitter or Facebook, provide a way to get back to 100% of the candidates. One thing I'd recommend doing, I know Twitter's really scary, I would recommend TweetDeck as a third client API. It does not live in an internet window, which is why it's working when the internet's not. And what it can do is sort of make sense out of all of this. So, for instance, anytime that somebody looks at monsterthinking.com, which is our blog, in any of these URLs, I'll be able to pull that. Whenever somebody tweets content from our resource center, hiring.monster.com, be able to tweet that out. Whenever I have a new follower, since I target HR and recruiting people, look how easy it is for me to figure out. Recruiting for Intuit across the enterprise, IT, marketing, product, business development, QA, and professional services. Probably makes sense for me to follow that guy. That is incoming developed leads. But what's nice is they're not connecting with a position. They're connecting with the brand. All of these people are following, and I think you probably saw him when you were coming in on the signage, Trump. This is what that account looks like. That's what AIM sounds like, and I'm glad that's on the other screen. Monster for employers. This is me. Doesn't look like me, right? People are like, yep, looks nothing like you. I get retweeted from this account. Never use the first person. We have a few of these. Somewhere in the order of about 500 times a week. The overall reach for those, as well as we have a hashtag that we use called TChat. We reach 5.6 million impressions a week. Okay? 5.6 million impressions a week just on this one Twitter account alone. I only have 44,038 followers. That's not a lot. What? 4,400, excuse me. Math, clearly not my strong suit, that's why I'm a recruiter. More important metric, I'm following 3,917 people. I only follow people who have HR, recruiting, marketing, or keywords in the bio of candidates I want to meet, right? So that's the more important metric for me. But I'm getting people to interact with my gatekeeper. That's my brand. You're giving voice to the brand. I'm sharing best practices content. Then, I fall about an 80 to 20 rule. I'll share content of HR thought leaders. I'll show our customers through this account that we know what we're talking about, like when it comes to like OFCCP. We were able to share through Twitter some findings that came out just a couple weeks ago. OFCCP created 4 new designations for veteran hiring. So the coding on that changed. We were able to share that with our community, keep them in the know. And then in the middle of those, guess what we do? We tweet job descriptions. But if you look on the monster.com feed, which I might have taken out, which I did, you're going to see a lot of very genericized job tweets. I would advise you to look at handwriting, and so we use this cool jobs hashtag. Anyone know how many people look at the cool jobs hashtag in the course of a month? It's about 15 million. That's 15 million impressions, I should say, not users. Runs about 430,000 users. So about the distribution of the daily reads, according to their cover this morning. So, cool jobs. Help college talent move from classroom to boardroom as campus recruiting specialists at Corporate Executive Board Careers. Okay? 2 words, red or white, 3 words, wine consultant wanted. I kind of want that job. But what I'm saying is that content is a little bit more palatable to play on the wine fund than just a standard job description. Why? Because that doesn't look like other people are tweeting. And then what happens when they click on that link? You're like, oh, I want to see that. They go to your career site, and that's where you're trying to funnel candidates. They're already seeing you there, then you want them to go there. The ultimate goal then, get them to upload your resume. Get them to upload their resume to applicant tracking system, maintain them in a talent community. And then all these numbers that I'm telling you, the reach, the impressions, all of that stuff, this starts becoming really, really easy, particularly when you enable your employees to do it, because a lot of HR professionals will say, well, we can't go on Twitter or Facebook or any of this stuff. We can't create an employer branding campaign. Marketing owns our brand, right? I hear that a lot. I have really bad news for you. Your employees own your employer brand, and that is way different than your consumer brand. Marketing owns your consumer brand. Your current employees, that is your employer brand. That's the only point of differentiation you have. So I know that a lot of HR professionals and companies hesitate to let their employees, particularly their high performers, use social media because they're scared that they're going to get poached, right? So 2 questions that I have for you. One, they're already out there, how did you find them, right? If somebody calls and they say, if I tell you I have an opportunity right now that's clearly better than the one you have today, the fundamental question of recruiting, guess how many people are going to say yes to that question? Right now, I believe it is 87% of people are looking for a new job. That number jumps to 93% of employees over 7 years. And guess how they're finding these jobs? Social media. Guess how they're applying for the jobs? On social media. So, you really have a good opportunity here. But like I said earlier, there's no such thing as being a social media expert. It's all being written. I don't know if you should be on YouTube. Probably. Don't know if you should be on Twitter. I don't know if you should be on Facebook. I don't know if you should be on Empire Avenue. I don't know if you should be on LinkedIn. I don't know if you should have a blog. That is up to you and your business. But you do not have the time to do it alone. And that's why your employees are your greatest asset. You trust them with company assets. You trust them with probably a laptop. You trust those high performers with a P&L statement, with your cash. Why don't you trust them with a Twitter account? One of those can do a lot of damage to your business. One of those can be deleted at any point in time. And that's what really this is all about. It's about experimenting. But in a large corporation, if you ask a lot of employees, who's your HR business partner? They're going to look at you like, I have an HR business partner? Huh, okay, I don't know. So this is not only a good way to make yourself visible to the outside, it's about making yourself visible to the inside of the company as well. That HR is there, that it has a voice, that it cares about employees. I know another huge fear that I hear all the time is, what happens if one of my employees leaves a negative comment about working there on my Facebook page? What should I do? Well, your employees are smarter than you probably are giving them credit for, and that's an opportunity. If you're able to create a dialogue in a safe place that doesn't feel like going to HR, and they're putting out something that would be deleterious to your employment brand, leave it up there. That's called transparency. Use that as a touch point, because they're putting it up there not so much to send a message to the outside world, as to send a message to you. When they know HR is looking, they're not stupid, they like their jobs, but they should. There is going to be no negative comments, but you might start getting to know and follow and interact with a lot of employees as well. For instance, I have a list here of not only our corporate accounts, but I think it's up to like 259 of our employees. So I'll follow our employees who work at Monster. So 259 of them, I'll send them all a direct message saying, here's a new job that we have open. I'd appreciate if you tweet it out. See those things coming through? The reach on that is better than I could do in any job description or any sourcing tool from a scale standpoint, with the exception of a job board. So Monster, obviously, you're just 1 in 3 internet users. Social media does not yet. So you do have that to consider. But I really think that the most important things, again, find out what works for you. Trust your brand with your employees. Let them get out there. And above all else, their presence on social media, in conjunction with what your brand wants to do from a social media perspective, should work together to drive a better pipeline of candidates. People who you can continually be able to reach in a non-invasive way. People who, if they move to another employer, you're still able to have their email address and contact them. It's not obsolete. Because if you're doing just-in-time hiring, no way is this going to work, right? It's just too much time. So again, don't look at it as sourcing unless you're building pipelines and have a profile like a cop. But what happens now when somebody who's like the perfect candidate or is referred to you, if you don't have an open job?